Deep state, deep church, how QAnon and TRUMPISM have infected the Catholic Church. Catholicism. It isn't yet light when Alexander Chugell and his cameraman sneak into Rome's Santa Maria in Traspontina Church to steal the statues. A lone elderly parishioner sits in the pews as Chugell, a young Austrian convert to Catholicism, so neatly dressed he might work there, quickly genuflects, then steps behind the rail of a side altar and picks the statues up, 5 slim wooden carvings, less than 2 feet tall, of a naked, kneeling woman with long dark hair, indigenous features, and a heavily pregnant belly. No one stops him as he carries them outside and down the Bridge of Angels, where, in the shadow of the hulking Castel Sant'Angelo, the setting of both a purported medieval miracle and an action sequence in a Dan Brown novel, the two men abruptly pitch one statue over the side. Sensing a need for greater ceremony, Chugell aligns the remaining 4 on the bridge's ledge, then shoves them, one by one, into the Tiber. On their YouTube video, you can see the last one land with a splash, stirring a chorus of seagulls as the current carries it away. For Catholic, radical traditionalists, at odds with a pope they consider too progressive, it was the splash heard around the world, as one right-wing news site put it, a purge, which may well go down in history as the moment the counter-revolution started. For their more moderate brethren, it was the culmination of an absurd and distressing season of reaction. And though they might not know it, for the rest of America it was a watershed moment too, establishing the tone and subtext of some of the most vicious debates this year. Donald Trump has pinned his 2020 hopes, in part, on dissident Catholics who view the church as compromised, the Pope as an unorthodox interloper, and their theology is not just compatible with, but spiritual backbone for conspiracy theories like Qanon. What happens after Tuesday, in the church and in this country, in some ways will mirror this battle. The abomination. The theft happened last October, 6 years into a cold civil war that started with the election of Pope Francis, when the Vatican hosted a gathering of Catholic leaders from South America's Amazon basin. Among Catholics who lauded the Pope's efforts to foster a more diverse, poverty-focused church, the Amazon Synod was a welcome continuation. 3 weeks of debate about the church's role in addressing climate change and the continuing effects of colonization, as well as a crucial focus on the principle of inculturation, how the church might better respect and integrate local cultures. Or, as Francis put it, how to build a church with an Amazonian face. Watch now. Presidential historian reviews presidents in film and TV, from Lincoln to the Comey Rule. For conservatives who viewed the Argentinian Pope, the first non-European Pope in more than 12 centuries, as somewhere along the spectrum between misguided and heretical, the Synod's working document contained worrying hints of ulterior motives, abolishing priestly celibacy, ordaining women ministers, and further liberalization down the line. For even further right traditionalists, who toy with the idea that the Pope is illegitimate, an apostate or worse, it represented something more dire, the replacement of Catholicism with a globalist, multicultural, eco-theology, grounded in socialism. The weekend before the Synod began, the Pope attended a ceremony in the Vatican Gardens. It was the feast day of St. Francis, patron saint of animals, ecology, and the poor. Around 20 members of the South American delegation planted a tree with soil brought from around the world, including parts of the Amazon where indigenous activists have been killed fighting corporate agriculture interests. They also prayed around a fabric mandala of symbols from the region. At its center were 2 wooden statues, identical to the ones Chugell stole, of indigenous pregnant women, variously described by Vatican officials as representing Our Lady of the Amazon, Mother Earth, and life itself. Francis's critics saw something else, a circle of Indians in face paint and feathers, prostrate before a pagan idol of the Andean fertility goddess Pachamama, while the Pope looked on. Conservative Catholic media seized on the supposed scandal. The right-wing First Things declared the Synod had revealed an antichristic church. A Mexican priest burned a Pachamama effigy, noted that liberal National Catholic Reporter, while an influential church leader in Washington, D.C., posted on Facebook that the new idolatrous Pachamama church represented dangerous devil worship. German Cardinal Walter Brandmüller, citing scriptural prophecies of end times, called the statues the abomination of desolation in the holy place. Advertisement.